What's up, nerds? We are your hosts. I'm Jake.
And I am Chad.
This week we are sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks.
We are also sponsored by Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce.
This week we are going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, now in theaters.
We will also be talking about Titans' new episode now streaming on HBOMax. So yeah, let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast. Think.
Nerd. Welcome back, nerds, to the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Jake, how was your week?
Week was good. Like I mentioned last week, by the time that episode came out, Nicole and I hit our halfway mark on our pregnancy. So I got to go to the ultrasound, and it was fucking crazy, man. Getting to see all his little fingers and his little toes, and it's nuts. It's
That's
nuts.
so wild.
Yeah. Other than that, it's just been kind of a basic work week for me, but that was the highlight of my week for sure. How about you?
Well, that's a little hurtful because we hung out this past weekend, but whatever, I guess. Your first child versus
we
me.
We didn't even sit next to each other.
I know.
I was actually kind of bummed.
I
thought
was
it was
too.
gonna be I thought it was gonna be Mike, Boo Man, Nicole, me, you, Ben. That's what I had in my mind when we went to the
That's
movie,
what I
but
wanted, but
the only
Mike
open
and
seat
Boo
was
Man went
between-
in first and took the middle of the pack, and I was like, okay.
Did you see when I came back? Because I went to the bathroom while you guys were finding your seats, and when I came back, I didn't realize there was an open seat next to Nicole. I thought the only open seat was next to Boo Man. And I was like, I gotta sit next to this asshole. And Nicole's like, no, over here. And I was like, oh.
You sat down, and I was like, that's where Mike's sitting. He went up to go to the bathroom, and you're like, oh.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, other than going to the movie, I got my 3D printer up and running, which was fun. Except for like the first day that it was up and running, I tried printing something and it was just an abomination.
Was that a penis for yourself?
If you try hard enough, everything can work. No, I tried making a little D&D figurine, but it was too small and everything wasn't like calibrated right, so it was just a spiral loosely in the shape of a person, and
I saw it. Yeah.
yeah, it's
It was only like an inch or two long, which
Yeah.
is like huge. It's
Yeah.
like average,
yeah, right,
right?
ladies. But then I got everything calibrated and I printed myself a dice tower.
Is it done?
Yeah, I haven't.
Well,
I haven't sanded it or anything like that. I put it in here, but it's Cthulhu.
Oh.
You drop the dice in the head, comes out down there. I need to sand it and stuff like that because there's like frays. But yeah,
Cool. Looks good.
it was a success. Well, before we get into talking about some of the meat of plant-based meat
The meat and potatoes here.
of this podcast, we do want to mention that if you like what we do here and you want to support us, you can always go to buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd and give us your money. It's a great way to support the podcast on a monthly basis. Plus, you get all sorts of bonuses, behind the scenes,
The
exclusive
biggest thing
merch.
is we don't profit. Neither of us take any money into our own pockets.
No.
All the money goes back into the podcast.
Yeah, so that we can do cooler giveaways, things like that. Yeah. If you would like to do that, we would love for you to do that because we want your money. Not like in
That's
a
what I
greedy
want.
way. It's
That's
your
what I
money
want.
and we want it now.
Call Jake P. Wentworth.
Jake P. Chadworth.
It's better. It's better.
What's going on in the world of nerd news, Jake?
Ooh, we got some stuff. I think the big one, June 2nd, the follow-up to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, called Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Part one.
Comes out June. Yeah, part one of two. Comes out, right? Comes out
Yeah,
June
June 2nd, I
June
think.
2nd.
Yeah.
I'm stoked about it. Apparently it's a 2 hours and 29-minute runtime, which is fucking dope. That's like the perfect like movie runtime.
I
When you
agree.
get it, when you get into like 3 hours, it's a little bordering too long, and anything under 2 hours is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just too much, not enough
It's a
time to
made for TV
cram.
movie.
Yeah. So 2.5 hours is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm so stoked about this movie. The cameos, the voice cast,
Who just
um,
who just officially was announced?
Andy Samberg as the
Yeah.
Scarlet Spider.
Yeah, Ben Riley.
That's dope. I love Andy Samberg.
I do too.
Um, yeah, man. This movie, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but because we don't have a lot of time, but from what I gathered from the previews that I've watched, and you and I just talked about this like 20 minutes ago,
Hmm.
it looks like in every iteration of Spider-Man in this movie, Uncle Ben or someone very close to Spider-Man has to die for Spider-Man to be like embrace his full potential. And it looks like that is supposed to be Miles' dad. And he basically says, "Nope, not letting that happen." And all the other Spider-Mans and women's are trying to stop him from saving his Faja,
Yeah.
his father.
Fog. It was so weird just hearing you say Spider Man's and Spider Woman's, because like obviously Spider Man and Spider Woman is like the name, and there's
Hmm.
no way to make it that plural and make it sound right.
Spider
Because
people.
Spider Men doesn't sound
S-
right.
Spider them.
Spider spiders,
Spoder. Spoder there.
spoder theys. We shouldn't be poking
We
fun at pronouns. I'm sorry.
we were allies. We just are being dorks.
Yeah. How do you make that plural though? Uh,
I don't know.
the world may
Spider
never know. Spider people.
spider spider people, I think, is the way to
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
spiders.
Spiders.
It's a gaggle of spiders.
Yes. A
A, f-
colony.
a flock of spiders, if you will. A murder of spiders.
Dun dun dun.
Moving on.
We had mentioned this a couple weeks ago when it first was announced about Jamie Foxx being hospitalized. It was for a brain aneurysm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Strong cocktail.
Yep.
Uh, since then, we haven't heard a whole lot up until this past week, where Jamie Foxx is still in the hospital. But it seemed like everything that we heard, for the past few weeks was that he was recovering.
Yeah.
It seems
The
like
initial
he's taken a turn for the worse.
Yeah, the initial reports were that he's fine, he's bouncing back already. And then about a week later now it's looking like things have taken a turn for the worse. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. Jamie Foxx is incredibly talented.
We love
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx over here.
and so whatever our listeners believe in, whether it's prayer, good vibes, just energy, whatever it is, send it Jamie Foxx's way.
Yeah.
Um,
I grew up watching the Jamie Foxx show. Loved it. They used to
yeah.
do late night television on WB 23, was like Martin, the Wayans brothers, Jamie Foxx, all in a row.
Martin.
I fucking loved it. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then obviously now he's moved on to much bigger and better things, and hopefully he will continue to do bigger and better things. So we're
Yeah.
with you, buddy.
What else happened? This is kind of pertinent to
It's
the
relevant to
the
what we do here.
DC takeover, the
Yeah.
change, all the shows going away.
Hmm.
Um,
Plus, they did intertwine this show with the
yeah,
movie
the
version.
DC EU
Hmm.
when that was what it was called. Um,
But the Flash on the CW has officially ended after nine seasons.
9 seasons, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, good for them. It is part of the Arrowverse because I think Arrow is
Arrow
technically,
started it.
if you ask me, Smallville started everything. But you can argue with me about that at another time. Um, Arrowverse was separate, but it wasn't separate because then they brought in Tom Welling and Erica Durance for their show. So thus
Yeah,
Smallville
from
started
the
everything.
Infinite Crisis, yeah.
Yeah. But it
But
ended
yeah,
and it came full circle.
yeah, callbacks to end of season 1, beginning of season 2 sort of thing.
Yeah. And
Um,
then like a mid-season or mid-series um scene as well.
mhm.
Basically Barry, Grant Gustin, which is a very good Barry Allen. He did a great job.
Yeah.
Uh, Even though I didn't finish the show just because it got a little repetitive.
I'm the
Um,
fastest man alive. Oh my god, there's someone faster than me. Gotta get faster.
yeah.
Oh my god, I went back in time and fucked something up. But I defeated that fast person.
What do you do? Oh my God, there's a black hole. What should I do? Run, Barry, run! Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, sums it up. But it did come full circle. They wrapped up things that happened in the very beginning, the middle, and the end, much like a book. And I did not watch it myself. I did watch the end of it, just so I could see it for myself, but it was good. I'm proud of that show. They did a good job.
Yeah,
I
and
enjoyed it.
I
Yeah.
I watched the first 3 seasons and those were pretty good.
Yeah.
And then like you said it just got repetitive
Yeah.
and also I didn't want to keep up cuz they constantly crossed over with like Supergirl,
Hmm.
Arrow. I stopped watching Arrow at one point in time too and
Yeah.
it just got to be too much to keep up with.
Hmm.
But here we
Yeah.
are also, the MCU TV shows, comics, all that shit that you have
Yeah.
to
It was
understand.
it
But
was different because with the Arrowverse, what they would do is they had Arrow, the Flash, um, what's that one? The Tomorrow People or whatever the fuck it was.
the Legends of
Legends of
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
yeah, the
Sorry.
Tomorrow
Uh,
People.
they had those. Wasn't there another one too? Um,
Well, they kept bringing back some people from the Justice Society, like Hawkman,
no, but there
Hawkgirl.
was another like show. Oh, the Black Lightning or whatever,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
So what they would do is they would have one of them would come out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They like ate up that entire like week, and then when they would do those crossover episodes, it would be
part one
you
would
had
be on Arrow,
Monday.
part two would be
Yeah,
on the Flash, part three would be
exactly. So it
Supergirl. Yeah,
was like you had to be like in front of your TV to watch it, and it just got.
I mean, smart marketing for them,
Oh yeah,
but
great. Like I said, they did a fantastic job.
yeah,
I really enjoyed those shows while I was watching them. Um, Good for you. Kudos. Nine seasons is
I mean that's incredible. Most
that's peak.
shows don't make it that far.
This to normal people means okay.
Yeah, to Jake it means something different. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh fuck you.
Totally kidding, everyone.
um, Go watch us on YouTube if you're wondering what we're talking about.
He's
Um,
doing the Italian fingers, the Italian hands,
yeah,
the Mamma
but
Mia. But no,
Mamma Mia. But yeah, it's they did a great job and congratulations on 9 seasons. Yeah, they wrapped up. So let's
also I want
also
to see
wrap up.
more Grant Gussin, just
I
in
would.
general.
They should. They with this whole fucking. I know they're not going to because we talked about it last week. That what's his fucking name? The
Yeah,
annoying guy,
Ezra
Ezra.
Miller.
Ezra Miller is already in talks for a Flash 2, which is dumb. I was really hoping that they would like use this as an opportunity to like swap him out for, not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like
Just
someone like Amber Heard. Let's go girl Flash.
no, she quit acting.
Oh no. No, she did not. Acting quit her. And then she said and then she said, "You can't fire me, I quit."
Awesome, you quit. We don't have to pay you a severance.
Yeah. Dope.
We did get a trailer for Dune Part 2. Sorry, we were derailing quickly there.
Yeah, it was fun. That's the fun of it though. But anyways,
Yeah.
yes. Dune 2. Oh.
It looks so good. The first one was incredible. This looks just as awesome.
We also get Austin Butler joining the cast.
He looks so creepy.
He looks like the rest. He's bald and whatever. I mean, he looks.
Yeah, but when you look at him and you're like, that's Austin Butler?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
It was so scary that I just jumped back to puberty for a second if you didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, he definitely went Proud Boys in this one and cut all his hair off and
Uh,
became the villain.
well, if you live long enough to not die the hero, that fits, unfortunately, Kanye so well.
It looks really fucking good.
Yeah,
I love Austin Butler.
yeah.
I'm just
We're just
being
making jokes because we
Yeah.
can. Uh,
Yeah. I thought he should have got the Oscar for Elvis. That movie was so fucking good. The only reason I haven't rewatched it is because I was like, I'm gonna like, if I'll wear myself out on it if I watch it over and over again.
yeah,
Yeah. So, anyways, it looks great. Zendaya looks great.
always.
Timothy Chalamet looks like the girl from Stranger Things. You haven't seen that?
No.
What's her name? Natalie Dreyer.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Plays
Yeah.
Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy. Yeah. They look exactly alike. It's insane. Look it up.
I will. Probably
Yeah.
during our first sponsor spot, but we have a couple more things to get to. Do you want to take this? I can take this one.
You go. I did that one.
Yeah, there's we got a trailer for the Hunger Games prequel. It takes place about 50 or so years before the movies that we've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks interesting. We'll see.
It's like Snow, right? Donald Sutherland's character as a younger man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But it looks interesting because also, they're only like 20 years or so into or it's their first like reoccurring Hunger Games sort of thing where it's, the survivors of past Hunger Games.
Don't they introduce it in this movie? Isn't this like how it started?
No, because it's like the 24th or 25th, but it's the first time that it's being like televised, that it's
Gotcha. Okay.
actually being like broadcasted and stuff like that.
I didn't read the books.
I mean,
only
we
saw the
even get like
movies, so-
Stanley Tucci back as a younger version of Caesar, whatever his last name is. I wanted to say Caesar Milan, but that's for dogs. But yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I mean, I really liked the first two of those films. I didn't read the books either.
Yeah.
And then the second two
From what I
just kind of
hear,
seemed like a cash grab.
and I also understand, because I do like to read books, is that the books are always better.
Yeah.
And so I heard that the books are just way better. The movies did not do them justice, and I mean, that's how it goes
Yeah.
with everything. Yeah. So
Yeah. And then what's coming out this weekend, Jake?
Transformers.
Uh,
I forgot where we were in the lineup there. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. This looks awesome. We do have to spend a minute or two talking about this because there is some shit that don't make no fucking sense.
doesn't
Uh,
make any fucking sense.
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Oh,
Uh,
just all these Adams are like, "Hi, I'm Pete."
and when my atoms meet these atoms, they bump into each other instead of passing through each other. You know what scientists say when you ask them why? I
Well, I don't know.
don't fucking know. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyways,
Ugh.
Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. This is another prequel. This takes place in the 90s, which this is where it kind of becomes a problem for you and I, where we talked about a little
Yeah.
bit ago, is that the Shia LaBeouf movies kicked off the Transformers movie franchise. And it seemingly appears that the Autobots, other than Bumblebee, don't come to Earth until uh Ladies Man 517 or whatever the hell it is, Shia's grandfather's glasses get put online.
Yeah.
The Decepticons
Well, in
come
the
and then
first movie, it was like Optimus and Bumblebee were both already there,
yeah, yes.
but that's it.
But then the movie Bumblebee showed that it was just Bumblebee was there, not
Yeah, but
Optimus.
Optimus could have showed up.
Yeah,
Maybe this shows Optimus arriving to Earth in the
yeah,
90s, but it
yeah,
doesn't explain the rest of
yeah.
them.
Yeah. So what bothers me slightly about it is that like in the Shia movies, the world doesn't know about Autobots and Decepticons. They're like, "Oh my God, these giant alien robots are here. What the hell do we do?" But this movie, Rise of the Beast, takes place, a decade and a half before the Shia LaBeouf movies, or the Sam Witwicky movies. Sorry, I'll go that way. Uh, and there's like a full-on like planet attack. Like in the trailer, like there's a spaceship, there's Autobots and Decepticons battling in the cities and the streets and blah blah blah. And like in the Sam Witwicky storyline, which is tied to this, they're like, "Oh, this is the first time we've ever seen these damn things." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just weird to me. And even in Bumblebee, it kind of throws a wrench in the gear a little bit because that was in the 80s.
yeah. The only way that we can make sense of this, and it would be the dumbest crossover ever, would
But
be
I would
if
love it.
the Men in Black show up and just mind wipe everyone.
The entire planet, though.
There's got to be a way to do it,
Yeah.
and then Chris Rock will have a cameo and make a joke about how Will Smith's partner K, Tommy Lee Jones, is really old. He
Yeah.
would smack him in the face and be like, "Keep my partner's name out your
Your
fucking mouth."
motherfucking mouth. It was a joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, Will Smith, man. I love Will Smith, but I
I do
lost
too. So much
so
respect.
much respect, dude. It just went out the window.
Well, I mean, my respect for him outside of movies has been dwindling for years because of the weird family dynamic that they have.
Yeah. But that's just more like I don't want to get into it too much. That's more like a victim, you know? Like you can be a pussy about your relationship. That's fine. I'm not gonna knock you on points on that. But
Yeah.
you assault somebody,
Right, but like just his relationship with Jada, with his
yeah.
kids, just
No, I get it.
it's so weird to begin with.
No.
And yeah, I mean, in that situation, he was definitely, just put on blast and, oh, how's he going to react? Let's only blame him. So, like, I get that, but, like, his reaction, yeah, we talked about this at length,
Yeah, we don't have
when
to.
it happened
Yeah.
a year or two ago, whenever the fuck that was. Uh,
Um,
last,
yeah,
uh, we can
couple
save,
things.
let's save the next one for when we actually talk about Guardians of the Galaxy and just do the
Okay.
last one so we can get to sponsor one so we can get
Yep.
into the rest of the stuff. So,
Yep. Apparently, or Marvel is changing the name of Captain America New World Order to something else. Um,
we don't know what it is,
yeah.
but if I had to guess, the reasoning behind it is because New World Order sounds super fascisty. And we know how Disney feels about that because Ron DeSantis. Uh,
Fuck
I
Rex.
wish I could say Trump Jr., but there's already a Trump Jr., literally Donald Trump Jr., who's not as shitty as Ron DeSantis, but not much better either. Um, I'm not going to get into that.
Nope, we're not. Not on this podcast.
Fuck them all. Fuck them all. Okay, let's just get into sponsor number one because don't know how to transition from that because I started to derail. Sponsor number one is Ray's Energy Drinks. Thank you for being ready, Jake. It's a great energy drink. There's no sugar, calories, or crash. And if you don't like energy drinks, they have stuff like supplements, things to help you sleep, protein packed dessert, snacks, and meals from pancakes, cake in a cup, cupcakes, cookie dough, all that stuff. And a lot of it, some of it, is plant based, which is really awesome for us as people that are trying to be as plant based as possible. I do eat pizza. Sorry.
Yeah.
But listen up, learn how to save 15%. We'll be right back with you to talk about Titans. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with zero crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, empowered by their refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
All right, nerds, we are going to talk about Titans, now streaming on HBO Max. Before we get started, spoiler alert, we are going to ruin some shit for you. If you haven't watched it, go watch it, come back and listen. You got about 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Woo! 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
It was a good episode.
It was a good episode.
Still not as good as the Gar episode, but it was a good episode.
Yeah. In terms of multiple stories all happening at once, very good. But that Gar episode was just so fucking awesome.
Yeah, so we get to see Tim Drake as Robin for the first time.
Yes.
And not gonna lie, out of every costume we've seen in this show, this one's probably the best one.
Oh
Which is
yeah.
kind of a bummer because I don't really care for Tim Drake that much. But his suit was fucking badass.
The thing that I love about Tim Drake in this show is, well, it was a long build up for him like actually being useful and badass, which was quite the bummer.
Yeah.
But he didn't have years of Batman training to become like a martial arts expert.
Hmm.
And we'll get into kind of why that plays into it. But he's a scrappy fighter,
Yeah.
and it was
Well, I mean, he
really
got beat
awesome.
up by Robert Pattinson's Batman once, so he kind of like he's got a little bit of training there.
What?
In the Batman?
No, he never attacked him.
I know, no, he didn't.
I
It
I was
was
I forgot about that though. That was a deep
he
cut.
ran away. He ran away, which I would too. But
Fuck yeah, I'm not fighting
it's
that dude.
Batman.
That's fucking Obi-Wan Batman. What? uh,
But yeah, he's more of a he's not like a ninja. He's more of like a just like like you said, like scrapper. He's
yeah.
like I need
Use your
to use the things
environment.
exactly. He's like throwing chairs at people.
He's like
It's
Jean-Claude Van Damme, just like
yeah,
a street fighter.
yeah.
Uh,
That's good. That's good.
I'll be
Movie
here.
was
I'll be
terrible,
here
but
all week.
that's good. You'll be here next week. Correction.
Yeah, be here once a week.
It was
Elliot
fun.
Reed, mood killer.
The costume was awesome. The only thing I didn't really like about it was that I didn't
The
like the
cape,
cape. The cape was very um
impractical. It was
like a is a
cloth,
very like cloth see-through like fabric.
and the jagged ends.
Yeah.
I don't hate the jagged ends, but on top of it being just cloth,
Hmm.
it holds no purpose.
It very much looked yeah, it very much looked like a cape that you would get at, Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, to go
You
with
know,
your super kick-ass cosplay Robin armored
yeah,
costume, but needed a
yeah.
cape. Yeah.
The rest of the suit was fire.
Yeah, and it even has kind of like the collar
Hmm.
uh up in it. The Robin symbol is not so like protruding that
And he
somehow
looked,
fits like
and he looked
37
good.
ninja stars.
Yeah, and he looked good in it. He
He
did.
did.
Like, yeah, I was good job, guys.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
great.
we get reintroduced to Jason Todd, aka
The,
Purple Hood,
yeah,
Red Hood, Pink Hood,
Blue Hood,
Blue Hood.
right? Because red and blue makes purple. Yeah,
Ah,
the
something.
red blue hood.
No, it was cool. It was cool seeing him. He's less of a baby about things.
Yeah, which is awesome. It's more fitting for the character. Um, and it turns out that him and Dick are working together to help train Tim,
Hmm.
which is really cool.
Which it is really cool, but it's like a couple hours of training, and then it was like, all right, you're good. You know, like I just have a feeling that like the next time we see Tim, he's gonna be like this ultra badass that like knows how to do all this crazy shit, and it's gonna be like from like a couple hours.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
from
I could
from
be
a
wrong.
weekend with your
Yeah,
estranged stepdad,
yeah.
sort of thing.
um, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
It's a bummer because they have to, in their defense, they have to cram all of this shit into, half a season because it got
yeah.
canceled.
Because literally
Because of
next week or this week, when this episode comes out, the finale comes out tomorrow.
yeah. Thursday. Yeah.
That's the end of the series. And they were taking their time with Tim because
Hmm. I thought they had more time.
mm. uh, also, speaking of costumes, Sebastian goes full brother blood. You know, he kills his mom a second time, but this time seems different. You know,
Yeah.
in the words of Thor. She's been dead before, but this time somehow feels different. Uh,
He also went to Spirit Halloween for his costume.
yeah, but like
His
got
whole
a
costume.
clearance devil costume. He's got a weird cape. Doesn't look that awesome. The mask itself looks cool, but you can literally see in the episode staples for an elastic band that holds it to his face. And it's like all the Robin masks just
Or
stick.
just like silicone,
Yeah.
like adhesive to their face.
Like you couldn't do that for one more mask. I'm sure that there's
Oh,
leftover sticky silicone
yeah. Sculpt
adhesive.
jizz.
You could just spit on it too. Uh,
Yeah, it doesn't look great, Cotton.
yeah, they're.
But
He's
again,
supposed to be the big bad. Why are they doing him so dirty to make him just the worst, most pathetic, self-loathing person?
again, in their defense, they got canceled like halfway through.
He was part of the first half of the season.
Yeah. But I assume that they're like, when they got canceled, like funding went out the window.
They didn't pre-plan a costume for this person that was inevitably going
fucking
to
know. I didn't
end
create
up
the
in it.
show,
Like,
man.
I know it's just like
I'm trying
some
to
of it
give
is
them
so
some-
good, some of it looks so cheap.
Yeah.
And it sucks because we both love this show. Like, I'm not meaning to like talk down on it so much.
We're
but
not
it's just,
talking
like,
shit about the show. We're talking shit about. Do we say James Gunn? We're talking shit about somebody.
I don't
It's
think
really
it's not entirely James Gunn's fault, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
But which is terrible because in our next segment we're going to be praising James Gunn.
Yeah.
Fuck me, right?
It's the that's the
Mahal.
whole like you said, we'll talk about it in a minute. But I mean he's so good at what he does, but it's like he also destroyed something that we love.
Yeah.
Not Titans in general. I'm talking all of that. Henry Cavill. And we're just talking about Henry Cavill. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We're talking about Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we love you, Henry. Um,
Justice for Henry?
let's just go. Oh wait, no, no. We have more. We have more.
I mean,
Oh,
we
shit.
can breeze through it. I mean, Connor
Maybe is
meets
dead?
back up with the Titans also, and yeah, might be dead. Not entirely sure. But goes back to wearing his T-shirt instead of his Armani suit.
Hopefully, he has a bunch of those T-shirts. Otherwise, like, that thing probably stinks.
I don't know because he stole the shirt.
Um, Project Starfire. It was Lex Luthor's
Nuke.
version of trying to replicate Starfire's power.
Not even. He needed her power to, like, give energy to this bomb to
Yeah.
take out threats.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, Dick is like, "Oh no, it's not going well. I'm going to cancel it now." As they're trying to power it up, and he cancels it at like 90, 97,
90. It was like
96.
98.6.
Yeah. Oh yeah, isn't that the NPR station? No, that's 89.3. Sorry. Uh, and then of course that bomb doesn't work, and then Dick's like, "Oh, it's my fault. I ended it too soon." Weird. And then the number one person that could probably help them would be Rachel, and Dick's like, "You're too close to this. You need to get out of here."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what about that entire storyline of you fighting Deathstroke just to avenge your own?
Yeah. We've
It's
said it
more of
before.
the same.
We've said it before. It's very much Dick is like every season. I can do this on my own. And then he's like, "Oh man, I can't do this on my own. I need you guys." And they're like, "Hey, we defeated the bad guy together." And then the next season, Dick's like, "I'm gonna do this on my own." And they're like, "No, Dick, we gotta stick together." And he's like, "No."
Yeah.
And then
Which
he's
100% by him sidelining Rachel just means that she's going to be the one to save them all at the last minute
yeah.
in the
I
next
assume
episode.
her and Starfire. I assume Rachel will get her like full abilities back, and also, um,
Go back to being a
Star
goth kid.
Starfire will
Oh.
also get her full abilities back, and they'll be like, girl power.
Nothing wrong with the girl power part of it.
No, no, no. I'm
Um,
just saying, like, it'll be like
no.
the two of them will be
Yeah, well,
like, we
because
got
they've
this.
been the ones that have been kind of hinted at the reason
Yeah.
or the.
And let's be real, Dick, he's got tasers for his weapon.
He has the power of anime on his side.
Jesus and anime on my side.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad that you knew what video I was referencing.
I get the power of Jesus and anime on my side. God bless that kid, wherever you are.
Science be with him. Uh, tell us about our other sponsor. Seriously, for as much
Oh.
as we just poked holes in this episode for this show, it was one of the better episodes of the second half of the season, or the whole season, realistically.
No, Gar episode.
Well,
was
that
the
was
best
the
episode.
best. I said one of the better. It's good.
Anyways.
I love this show. I'm just salty, is really what
Yeah.
it comes down to.
I'm also got a pretty solid buzz. Hi, I'm Jake. I'm the problem.
It's me.
I got a solid buzz going right now.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
same.
that being said,
Oh.
let's get into podcast number 2. Sponsor number 2.
All Things Drunk podcast.
We do that right after this one.
It's not recorded. Jake thinks it is. It's not.
Sponsor number 2 is Crybaby Craig's hot sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce. It goes on practically anything. Please listen up. We'll tell you more about it and go buy some. This shit's bomb.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. All right, friends. For the next part of this episode, we really want to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, now in theaters. So if you are less nerds than us, or just life happened to get in the way, and you haven't seen it yet, pause, come back, because there's going to be some spoilers in this. So give you about 3, 2, 1. That's enough time. And let's talk
Here's how
about
it
it.
ends. No, I'm just kidding.
Everybody dies! Only no.
No.
First off, we were just talking mad shit about James Gunn's DC universe because it is ruining and ending a lot of projects that we really have come to enjoy in the DC universe. This reinforces why we still have hope for James Gunn in the DC universe and love James Gunn because this movie was incredible.
It was so good.
Nothing will beat the first Guardians film, but we talked about it earlier off camera, and we both kind of agree that we like it more than the second one.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
We did for sure, yeah. And I really liked the second one. I thought this one was better than the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I laughed. I cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was
Emotional. As fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so.
Woof. Like, fucking hell.
It was very much centered around Rocket, this movie, rather than Peter Quill, which was awesome.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking on the record here, Jake, when did you first tear up?
So the scene is that, again, if spoiler alert, guys, get the fuck out of here and come back later. But the first actual tear up would have been right after Lila gets killed. And then it's not that she died that made it sad. I mean, it was sad, but Rocket's reaction to her getting shot was just standing over her dead body and screaming at the top of his lungs, like ugly crying, like and it was like, oh my God, this is so sad.
You got much further into the movie before tearing up than I did.
There were parts that were sad that prior to that, but I didn't really like well up.
I mean,
those.
During that scene was probably the first time that I had to like wipe a tear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But my eyes got watery literally during the opening sequence.
With him as a baby?
No, where he's walking through nowhere singing to himself Creep by Radiohead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't have to wipe any tears, but I was like, this is the opening sequence. I'm not going to get through this movie.
Yeah, Rocket was definitely the heart and soul of this movie, and it was
perfect.
I mean, it was goddamn it was so good.
Because like in the first two Guardians films, like it's all about him walling himself off and just being an asshole because he doesn't want to experience loss. And now we see why.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, also like later in the movie, because for most of it, he's like in a medically induced coma. Because he's injured very early on because of Adam Warlock, and we'll get into Adam Warlock here in a second. The good, the bad, and the Will Poulter. Just looks good without a shirt on. No shame. Dude got ripped. But when Rocket comes out of the coma and speaks over the comms, Nebula's reaction broke me.
That got you?
Yeah, because they spent years together during the blip where just the two of them were the Guardians. And fuck, man, like I'm getting emotional like thinking about it. It broke me because she fucking sobbed. Obviously, you know, you were there.
I was there.
You saw the movie.
Yeah. I mean, fuck yeah, it was a sad movie, but it had its bright and shiny moments too that
I
were
mean,
really happy
it was
and
still Guardians. It was still James Gunn,
hmm
goofy and funny. Uh, we got our first F bomb,
hmm
official F bomb,
hmm
because it's kind of not even just the MCU, but like superhero movies in general. If you exclude, like the Punisher and
Yeah, if you exclude that rated R,
yeah,
yeah,
Deadpool, Logan, things like that, you don't hear the fuck word.
they set it up nicely for a volley, but nobody ever comes and spikes it.
Yeah, I mean, all three Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. What the?
No, the first two MCU
Yeah.
Spider-Man movies. The third one didn't end on a what the.
Hmm.
Um, but and supposedly Endgame. I saw this today in an interview with James Gunn because he was talking about Kevin Feige
hmm
and that scene where Peter Quill says "fuck," um, and he was talking to Kevin Feige about it because he was like, "They've never told me to cut things because they didn't support it. They let me do what I wanted to do." And he's like, "This is the first F word in the MCU," so he was like, "This is what they're going to tell me to cut." And a couple weeks went by, the first cut that was sent off to, Kevin Feige and the executives and stuff like that. And he heard nothing back. So he had like a sit down with Kevin Feige and was like, I have to ask. The F word. What's the ruling on that? And Kevin, I guess, told him that Endgame was supposed to have an F word in it. And they
I'm
were
fucking Iron Man.
uh, Kevin and the executives never told the Russo brothers to cut it. They
Mhm.
just decided to on their own. I really want to know where it was, but that wasn't part of the interview. And so Kevin told James Gunn, "Hey, if you want this to be part of your legacy in the MCU, I'm not going to stop you. But you have to decide if you want that to be part of your legacy in the MCU." And James Gunn literally told Kevin Feige, like, "I thought you were going to try and talk me out of this instead of encouraging me to keep it in, because now I want this to be part of it even more." And we kind of talked about the scene because we got a clip of it before the movie came out.
Bleeped out. Yeah.
And tell us about the scene, Jake.
I mean, it's just Nebula trying to open a car door,
Like
and she
a
doesn't.
car from the 1980s.
Yeah. And Peter's trying to walk her through it. He's like, "You push the button down." And she's like, "Okay, I pushed it. Now what?" And he goes, "Open the fucking door." It was funny.
In from that same interview that I saw, that wasn't part of the script. It's just that Chris Pratt had like an earpiece in, so that they could give direction while filming scenes and stuff like that, because he's in a car. You can't just be like, "Do this," for nonverbal things. And he's like, "Okay, say this." And Chris Pratt's like, "Open the fucking door." And they all thought it was fucking hilarious. And yeah,
That is fucking hilarious.
that's not something that props
Then
can
props
fix.
can fix.
It's gonna
That's
take a
gonna
little.
be a little harder to fix.
Ugh.
Chris Pratt, everybody. Oh
Despite
God.
his weird, super religious, whatever, he's a funny dude.
Yeah.
And this movie was fantastic.
We got the heart, like we said, the heart and soul of this movie is Rocket Raccoon. And we finally get to hear him call himself, or it just in general, he's been denying the fact that he's a raccoon for 3 movies now. So I'm not a raccoon, like blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and he
Even
finally,
like in this movie, he denies
yeah,
it for most of it.
yeah, and then he finally sees like a cage of little baby raccoons, and he looks at the label of it and realizes that it says raccoon. So we finally get to see him say Rocket Raccoon. But this movie, he calls himself Rocket Raccoon, Bond, James Bond.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Well,
but
James Bond.
he's definitely the heart and soul of this movie, and it was, man. I mean, if you ever teared up at a fake CGI thing before, this is the one to do it. Holy shit, it was so sad.
Oh my god.
He's so cute when he was little. Oh my God. He's a little baby. Oh, that was another part that made me tear up. When the Guardians finally get the orb that has his like file on it, and they get to see what they did to him, and they were operating on him while he was still awake, and he's like screaming in pain, and you could see all the Guardians are like looking away because they're like, "Oh my God, like I can't watch this." Like that part was
Nebula
super
and
emotional too.
Mantis are both crying.
Yeah.
I mean, Nebula is like tearing up and she's like, "This is worse than what Thanos did to me."
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and
Oof.
we even see like when he's first put into they're like flashbacks while he's in his coma.
Mm-hmm.
But like you see him get put into the cage with a couple other experimental animals, but like he's been like scalped and like sewn back together because they
Yeah.
operated on his brain, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
It was sad. And he's like shaking, and Lila's like, "It's okay." You know, like, oh my God, it was so emotional. It was so
now
sad.
go eat a burger, you fucking heathens.
Oh yeah, the movie was so good. So sad.
There was something cool character, cool scenes, quite unnecessary outside of the first like 10-15 minutes. Because he was the one that like attacks and Adam Warlock.
It's like the opening, like fight scene. Like they did not waste any time bringing you some action in this movie. It
Yeah.
was like
It's like
opening.
a loose Tinder first date.
Yeah.
You
It's like
know?
opening 5 minutes. They're like, all right, everybody's happy, and then BAM!
Yeah, and
World War II.
shit goes to hell
Yeah.
very quickly.
Adam Warlock,
Really cool character.
Will Poutine or
Poultier.
whatever. Yeah.
Poutine. If you don't know
I
who
kn-
Will
I know
Will
his name.
Poultier is, he's Eyebrow Kid from The Maze Runner and
Mhm.
We Are the Millers, and that's nothing against him. He just has a very expressive face, and he grew into those eyebrows because looks fucking awesome.
He's a beefcake in this movie, which is wild, because that's not really what we've seen him as. But good for
Never.
you, Will.
Yeah, never seen him like that.
It's not your fault, Will.
Don't say that, man.
It's not your fault.
Come on, man. Don't say that. Now I'm
Oh,
sad
fuck.
for a different reason.
He really didn't have any business in this movie, though. The character was awesome. The action sequences with him in it were fantastic, but story-wise, it really didn't fit. It was unnecessary collagen.
It. We almost got a bigger Jaws moment, but then that didn't happen.
I thought for sure there was
because he
bigger
was
Jaws
not part of
coming.
the bigger Jaws fight.
It was not.
It was just he was teased at the end of Guardians 2,
Mm,
so they had to incorporate him somehow.
mm,
And literally, this was just a way to introduce him. in a way that wasn't really that necessary.
Not necessary at all.
Yeah.
Like none of the only thing that I could, and this
The
I'll
opening
say
sequence with him and the last sequence with him.
I'll
Everything
say
in
the
between, meh.
the only thing that gave some sort of context, but also gave me a giant plot hole, uh, which you and I talked about, and I'm gonna tie these things together. Um, the first thing is that him being in this movie, he's super powerful. I mean, he bodies the Guardians like by himself. And also putting Rocket Raccoon into critical condition. Um, and you're like, holy shit, this dude's super. He beat the shit out of Drax. He beat the shit out of everybody until Nebula finally is like, fuck this, and stabs him. But um, that being said,
Uh huh.
well, I won't say it again. But um, the evolutionary, the what
High evolutionary.
high evolutionary is so powerful that he, with a fucking like snap of his fingers or whatever the fuck, just puts Adam Warlock into the wall and is just like crumbling into the wall with every like he's like, Are you understanding what I'm saying? Like if you don't fucking do what I say, I'm gonna kill this kid." And just keeps fucking shoving him through this wall. So he's very powerful. The high evolutionary is very, very powerful. And there's a scene early on in the well, midway through the movie in a flashback with Rocket where I mean, it's probably the saddest, in my opinion, one of the saddest parts of the movie. Rocket's friend Lila gets killed by the High Evolutionary, and Rocket just stand. This is where I like teared up for the first time, and Rocket just stands over her body and just is screaming, and the High Evolutionary like mocks him for like crying over her, and Rocket just like lunges at him and rips his face off. If you've seen the trailers, you see that the High Evolutionary has like a stretched on, like fake looking like face. It's like a mask. That's because Rocket ripped his face off. Uh,
Yeah.
my face. Uh, and but this is a plot hole for me because in you see that Adam Warlock, who beat the shit out of all these guys, is super strong. High Evolutionary kicked his ass super easily, and Rocket was somehow just like sitting on top of him, like ripping. I mean, if you've seen the movie, you see the scene. He's just like ripping his face off, and it's like a minute long, and the High Evolutionary is just laying there going like ah ah, and like, and it
Yeah.
just like for me, it was like, why didn't you just like yeet, you know? That's my
This
that's my
raccoon angry. Yeet.
that's my only like I don't get it, but I fucking loved the movie.
Yeah.
100%. It was god damn it.
Some of the coolest fight scenes. I mean, very, very CGI. It looked good,
Mhm.
but there was just some moments where you're like, uncanny valley. But it just that's what happens with CGI. Um, them going down the hallway and they're all fighting together, killing all the
That was
the
badass.
what do they call them? The warhogs, war
Whatever.
pigs,
Yeah.
um,
Mm. Love that beer.
war pig. It's a good beer.
Foggy Geezer. Yeah. The beer is called Foggy Geezer.
I don't know
War
if I've
Pigs is
had
the
Foggy
brewery.
Geezer, but I've had some war pigs.
Mm.
Um,
Anyways, continue. Continue.
oh, um, the action in this is awesome. There's so many Easter eggs as well. Some people thought like when you see the Guardians like jumping through space in their super colorful suits, everyone's like, "Oh, that's a nod to that really lo-fi game that like swept the world during the pandemic called Among Us because it's all the same colors."
Mm.
Um, but it was actually a nod to the spacesuits from 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, makes more sense because the suits actually look like that.
Hmm.
Um, and the countless cameos. I mean, obviously, I didn't even bother writing down her name. Mrs. James Gunn uh, has a cameo in it. Nathan Fillion has a cameo in it. They even found a way to bring Michael Rooker back as Yondu. I mean,
Very briefly, but
yeah, it
yeah.
was, and it made sense
Um,
for the story. And like most of these other cameos and stuff like that, uh, were just like one-offs. Like they weren't major parts of the story, but it was cool. The one thing that we skipped during our intro is we talked about this last week because on a Google search it says that Margot Robbie is in this film.
oh yeah,
She is
she's
not.
not. She's not.
And we thought that it was going to be like an end credit scene because she's rumored to be Sue Storm.
Hmm.
She's not in this movie at all.
I wonder if maybe she was supposed to be, and then they cut it, and
Could
that's
be.
why. Um, but a couple cool ones on here. Is and I'm so sorry. I know you're listening, but if I butcher your name, I apologize. Daniela Melcher, or as you think it might be,
Melchior,
Melchior. She played Ratcatcher 2 in um,
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, the James Gunn Suicide Squad. Um,
Same with
Another fun.
Nathan Fillion.
Yep, Nathan Fillion. And then we got a Maria Bakalova. If you don't
Hmm.
recognize the name, she did the voice of Cosmo, the dog. Adorable character. But she was also, if for me, she's only, there's not a ton of stuff I know her from, but she was Borat's niece in Borat 2.
Right.
Um, yeah. So I thought while watching the movie, I was like, she sounds like Ana de Armas. I was like, is Ana de Armas in this fucking movie? Like, so I looked it up when we left, and I was like, nope, it's that
Yeah.
girl. So Maria, or oh, not Maria. Yeah, Maria Bakalova. Bakalova.
Yeah.
Bakalova.
And she's a Bulgarian actress.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
Also,
we got some
Cosmo
fun
was
ones.
fucking hilarious throughout the entire
Yeah.
thing because
Oh, she was great.
Kraglin calls her a bad dog because she
She.
like shows him up with her
Hmm.
telekinesis,
Yep.
and it's just a running joke throughout the entire thing. And then she steps in and saves his life, and it's one of those like war pigs that it's there. And he's like, a dog, and Kragan's like, yeah, she's a good dog. And then she Cosmo smushes that person and then immediately goes back to being a puppy and was like, I knew you thought I was a good dog. I love
Yeah.
you.
Oh, it's so cute. I love that they gave Cosmo like a bigger role. Because in the Christmas special, she had like a kind of a smaller role. But it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is awesome, Cosmo. We even like gushed about it a little bit
Yeah, because
when we
Cosmo
talked
with the
about
Guardians of the Galaxy is a huge thing.
yeah, and in this movie she had a huge role. I mean, without her they wouldn't have been able to save all those kids and the animals and oh, it was so cute. Whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, when she uses her telekinesis, she like snarls up her little puppy dog nose. It's so cute.
Oh, it's great.
Way off
Love it.
topic, but um, fuck.
I think the last thing, which is a really cool aspect. It caught me off guard during the movie, but like I was able to rationalize it. But my rationalization was so wrong. Was Groot at
Mm.
the end doesn't say I am Groot, says I love you guys.
Oh, I was gonna say I've got family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
uh, but in my head when it happened, I was like, oh, didn't say I am Groot, but I was like, well, he's been hanging out with the Guardians for 10 years. He's
Mm-hmm.
had to pick up some of the common language.
Mm-hmm.
So spoke. Uh, according to James Gunn, do you want to take it?
No, you go.
Okay. According to James Gunn, uh, he just says I am Groot. But we're able to understand it because we are now part of the Guardians family.
Mm-hmm.
So much
Adorbs.
more heart touching
Mm-hmm.
and heartwarming than the way I was like, he learned some common language. Cool.
Yeah,
But that was awesome.
it was awesome.
There are 2 end credit scenes.
2, stick around.
Yeah, you want to talk about them? You talk about them. I just talked a lot.
Uh, well, well, the first one is the new Guardian. Well, so one thing that we didn't really, I mean, it leads into is that at the end of the movie, Peter he leaves the Guardians, and so does Mantis and um Gamora. Gamora goes back to being a Ravager because this is not the same Gamora. Blah blah blah. But Peter goes back home to Earth to find his grandfather, and the first after credit scene that we get is the new Guardians. They appoint Rocket Raccoon as the captain of the new Guardians, and it's Rocket, um, Kraglin. Did I
Yep.
say that right? Yeah.
Kraglin, Cosmo.
Groot, Groot, Cosmo, and Adam Warlock, and then that little bitch.
I'm going to look it up. She is actually. Her backstory is different in this compared to other iterations where she was part of like the Nova Corps like
Mm,
youth program.
mhm.
Um, but she is part of it. Keep talking while I try and find this.
Well, the really cool part about this is James Gunn has said for a while, especially after the Christmas special, because there was some fan backlash on like how Groot looked. There's like in this scene they show Rocket and the new Guardians. They're all sitting around like a big like rock or whatever, and they're talking. And all of a sudden there's like this like army of alien monsters like coming towards them, and they're like, "Come on, Groot, let's go!" And all of a sudden, this giant rock formation stands up, and it's Groot, fully grown. He's massive, bigger than the original Groot. I mean, he's like Eric Bana Hulk size. It was cool.
I got that reference.
He's massive. So it's really cool to see. Hopefully, we'll get to see some more Rocket and Groot in the future.
Yeah.
Um,
And
are you?
it's Lottie.
Uh,
Is they didn't give her the full name, but she has telekinetic powers. I mean, she's not quite a clone of the High Evolutionary, but part of the perfect specimen that he's created. Because even with his counter Earth of fully evolving random ass animals into bipedal humanoids, uh, he created these other children, basically, to start a new colony with. Um, I can't remember what her name in the comics is. But if anyone played the Guardians of the Galaxy video game that came out a couple years ago, Lottie is a big part of that as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah.
Go ahead with the other one.
The other one is hilarious, and it's kind of like the only thing that really ties the holiday special other than them referencing that Mantis and Peter are siblings. Is Peter is sitting at the breakfast table with his grandpa eating cereal, complaining about how the neighbor wants him to mow his lawn, even though his neighbor has like a 45-year-old son that lives at home, and he's just going to sit on the porch and watch Peter mow the lawn. Whatever. He's just bitching about world problems, earth problems. But while his grandpa is reading the paper at the breakfast table, there's a little clip that shows a picture of Kevin Bacon, and it says, aliens abduct beloved actor Kevin Bacon. And it just ties it in. But
Yeah.
the second end credit scene is just kind of a funny one. It doesn't really play into the larger MCU at all.
But it does say that the legendary Star-Lord will return.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, it does not say the Guardians of the Galaxy will return because, as we talked about last week, Dave Bautista, Zoe Saldana have said that they will not be returning. But we will get Pratt. So,
It's a me, Chris Pratt.
I assume it'll be an Avengers movie.
Yeah, that's kind of our
Yeah.
theory.
But hopefully we get Rocket and Groot back at least. I would really like to
I
see
would like
that.
to see more of the new Guardians. I mean,
That would be
they
dope
could
too.
bring in. I mean, as long as they stay true to Groot and Rocket and keep those actors, I'm totally fine with.
And they've all said that they
Bringing
would
someone in.
return if
Yeah.
the circumstances were right. It just won't be a James Gunn
Yeah,
movie.
like
So,
they could bring in John Watts, who did the Spider-Man films, because he's really great at combining the serious tones and
yeah.
humor. We'll see.
Mhm.
One thing we can be like 99% certain of is it won't be Taika, so that's pretty good.
There won't be any jealous hammers. That'll be nice.
And on that note, let's go ahead and just close out this episode, okay?
But before we do, we are going to talk about our honorable mentions. Chad, what do you got?
Honestly, not a lot this week. I mean, Ted Lasso, while that's still going. Then other than that, just been watching Dimension 20 on Dropout TV.
You didn't start Silo?
No, I didn't. I meant to because we talked about it, obviously
I didn't.
off
I didn't
air. But the yesterday after the movie was not feeling the best from our lunch, and so I just rewatched stuff. I guess I did a couple nights ago. I did go back and start almost from the beginning and watch the Power Rangers Forever and Always, or Always and Forever, or whatever it was.
Is that the new one?
Yeah.
And?
I mean, they explain why, like, Jason and the original Tommy and Kimmy aren't in it.
But was it any good?
It was nostalgic, for the sheer fact that it was cheesy as fuck, and the acting was very subpar.
Well, at least they're consistent.
Yeah, and like, I don't dislike the character of Billy Cranston, the Blue Ranger, the original Blue Ranger, but they like went to extremes to be like, look at how successful he is, look at how great he's doing and stuff like that. And I think that was their way of being like, we're sorry for harassing and bullying you because of who you are 30 years ago. Because that's why he quit years ago, is because he was harassed and bullied for being gay. Which is not okay that happened, but they put so much effort into being like, everyone else just kind of like turned out average. And he's like Elon Musk. Uh,
He was like the smart one out of all of them. So, I don't
yeah,
know.
but like his company's headquarters is Zordon's castle and shit like that. And
Nice.
it's like, okay. Uh, but yeah, it felt true to Power Rangers, especially the originals. Um, but that was its greatest and strength and weakness. They could have done more. What about you? What did you watch?
Not a ton. But I did start last night. I started watching because I also was not feeling good after our lunch yesterday. Uh,
What?
uh,
No.
but I started watching The Mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner. It's on Paramount Plus. Holy fucking shitballs! It is so good. I've been there's 2 seasons of it out. Hopefully more to come. I just finished episode 5 of the first season. Um
Is it a 10 episode season? A
I
12,
really should
24,
look at that. I don't know.
97?
I assume it's either 8 or 10. I don't know. I didn't look. But fucking A, dude, it's bloody. It's fun. I mean, I love Jeremy Renner and I love
Yeah.
watching him in this kind of a role. He's not the like family man, like
Stoic
good
superhero.
good guy. Yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit that just, I mean, kills people, plants drugs on people. Um, it's the premise of the show is that it's these three brothers, and what they do is they control and work with gangs inside and outside of prison to keep like the peace inside of like the prison yard and also out in their town, um, to keep gangs from ripping each other apart. It is so fucking good though. I mean I'm not explaining it the best way that I should, but I watched the first episode and I was like, please sir, I want some more.
Pants?
And I
Sorry.
have been nonstop watching it. Other than this, I mean, I literally watched it till 2 in the morning last night. Went to sleep, woke up, watched 2 episodes this morning, and then podcasted with you. When we're done here, I will go back to watching that show. It's so good.
Perfect.
But that's all I got. So
All right. Well, Jake, if people like this podcast and what we're doing, what should they do?
go to buymeacoffee.com and give us your money.
Yeah.
That's what we want. No. We love you guys. Seriously, thank you for those of you who are still tuning in after, what has it been, like 2 years? Over 2 years?
Yeah, this is episode 112.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so if you like what we're doing, like, share, subscribe, give thumbs ups, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you want to support us financially, the best place to do it is, like Jake said, buymeacoffee.com/allthingsnerd. Because then it's a monthly thing. You get some bonuses on top of that. If you don't want to do a monthly basis and just want to, support us, instead of going to buymeacoffee.com where you can just do like a one-time donation, we recommend going to allthingsnerdpodcast.com and buying merch, because you at least get something out of a one-time purchase and it still supports us. If not, just tell people about it,
Yeah.
share
If you
it.
don't want to give anything, at least just tell people, like Chad said.
Or at the very least, just listen.
Yeah.
Numbers help.
And talk to us. We love feedback from you guys
Yeah.
and girls, from you people. We love it. In the past couple of years, we've had people send us messages or whatever, asking us questions. We love that shit.
Asking us to
Please.
review things, asking us
Yeah,
to
yeah.
dive
If you
deeper
have
into different nerd things.
if you have a TV show, movie, game, anything nerdy that you want us to partake in and review, we'll do it.
Yeah, the
Just
one
let
thing
us
that we
know.
haven't yet, because I'm slow about it, is we've been asked to play some Magic the Gathering. Haven't gone that far yet.
Yeah, by Zach.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we haven't forgotten. We will find a time and a way to do it. Um, but yeah, just interact at the very least if you enjoy the show, because it helps us and it's just fun for us. We love talking to people about this stuff. Um, yeah, we love you all and thank you for being here. And this has been the All Things Nerd podcast.
Oh, I almost cheers my microphone. Tink.
Tink.